Well, Clark County leaders are all in on going green, and tomorrow they'll be tackling a years-long plan focused on sustainability. Fox 5's Mike Allen is live at Sunset Park with one of the changes that you could see there.
Yes, well, Kim, if this plan is approved, these lights you see behind me would be off until someone moves in front of them, like those players that you see playing ball. That's one of several changes that would come with this plan if it's approved.
Las Vegas is the fastest warming city in the country. This is not an area where we want to be number one.
In a meeting just over 2 years ago, the Clark County Board of Commissioners committed to a climate action plan to offset the danger climate change could have on the Las Vegas Valley.
If left unchecked, these impacts are going to continue, and they're going to have real effects, negative effects on the water, energy, public health, and economic systems in Clark County.
The points made by climate action expert Kim Lundgren will be a focal point of Tuesday's commissioners' meeting, where they'll firm up the actual plan to achieve a net zero emissions future. But what will you have to do? Not much, but you will see and feel some of these changes coming to the valley. For example, the plan calls for encouraging working from home to cut down on pollution from commuting, building more electric car charging stations, making outdoor lighting automated in places like parks and parking lots, adding more cooling stations for people to beat the summer heat, and putting in lots more trees across the county to help with air quality and cooling certain areas down during the hotter months. As far as your role in this plan, the county asks you for your honest feedback about how it's addressing climate change.
Now, this plan is up for approval at tomorrow's county commissioners meeting, and we'll update you with the results of it. Live at Sunset Park, Mike Allen, Fox 5 News, Local Las Vegas.